Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can visit our website, holybatcast.com, or find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. You'll find us. If you are a big fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. And always a huge thank you to our patrons. You guys are amazing. We really do appreciate the support you give us, and you make it just that much easier for us to keep the show rolling. So we hope you know it's appreciated. We're a proud part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all those shows at rf4rm.com. I'll give the same little plug I think I gave last time, which is there's lots of fun Halloween content on the original feed at Real Fans for Real Movies. So if you're in a spooky mood, which you should be, you can go check some of those out. And as always, I'm your host, Andy DiGenova. You can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram or on Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. In this episode, we're going to catch up on the news because it turns out there's a lot. There's like no one big, like earth-shattering piece of news, but there's like 1,000 little nuggets and tidbits to discuss. And it's been a few weeks since we've done one of those. So we thought we would do a little catching up, and we've watched the next episode of The Batman. We're committing to that. We're going back to it, so we're going to talk about it. Joining me for all this fun is my good pal, Jamie Drewley. Hey, Jamie. I guess it's your week now. You and Brendan have been switching off, so welcome back.
Yeah, pleasant pumpkins and spooky spirits to all y'all out there.
So the same to you. I was just sipping my pumpkin flavored coffee, and this is one that I found that it is pumpkin and marshmallow flavored.
Oh, that sounds
I don't really
very appealing.
Marshmallow, good.
Yeah. Well, I am not. I'm drinking cherry flavored coffee today because my kids drank all my pumpkin.
Your kids drink coffee?
When it's flavored like pumpkins and stuff, yeah.
Okay.
They're like you. They're the kind that they don't really like coffee, but they love all the stuff that goes into coffee.
Yeah. It's an excuse to have dessert in the morning.
But hey, you know what? The Meyer brand Frederick's Reserve or whatever it's called, cherry coffee is actually pretty good.
All right. Good to hear it. Well, welcome back. We got a lot to chat about. Before we get to it, though, we got to give a shout out, as always, to our friends over at Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Our pals, they want to make sure that you are celebrating fresh ball fall and you are keeping yourself trimmed and smelling nice and looking nice. And so they have all the products that you might need to do that. They have the lawnmower 4.0. They've got the shampoo conditioner combo. They've got the body wash. They've got the deodorant. They've got the foot spray. They have the ball toner. They have all kinds of things. So if you're looking to moisturize better, if you're looking to trim it up, they got a little something for everyone. The boxers, super comfy boxers that I wear all the time now because they were nice enough to send them to me, and I'm happy to wear them. They're comfy. They look nice. I dig them. All kinds of good products at manscaped.com. But if you're going to make a purchase, please use the promo code BATSCAPED, BATSCAPED, BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. So you're looking to, to knock up your, to kick up, that's better, to kick up your grooming this fall, go to manscaped.com, do a little shopping, perusing, see what they've got, see if anything jumps out to you. But again, please use the promo code BATSCAPED if you're going to make a purchase, because you're going to save some money, you're going to get free shipping, and you're also going to be supporting us in the meantime, and we really do appreciate that. It's a win-win-win. It's a win for Manscaped, it's a win for us at Holy BatCast, and it's a win for you. And it's a win for whoever you're with. Help them too. So yeah, win. 4 wins for Manscaped. It's a lot of wins. So go to manscaped.com, use the promo code BATSCAPED, get your discount, get your free shipping, and get one of their nice products. We've talked about them in the past, but we do stand by them. They are good, high quality products, and I think you'll enjoy using them. So yeah, go there, see if anything strikes your fancy, and give it a shot.
You know, after you talking about all that, it's almost like I can smell that Manscaped sense.
It is.
That might be just because I got out of the shower 10 minutes ago. That might be it.
Okay. That explains a lot. That explains why when I sent you the link for this episode, you were MIA.
I was manscaping.
There you go. I wait to shower till after the episode, so I'm just sitting here in my pajamas.
I make you feel dirty? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes, that is. And also, I get up and don't have the energy to do it yet. So I'm just sitting here in my Halloween PJs because, of course, it's all themed.
I'm not surprised. I'd be disappointed if you just said anything else right there.
as well you should be. Okay, so here we go. You ready to talk some news, some stuff that's going on?
Depending on what the news is, yes, but maybe not. I don't know because I don't really know what news we're going to talk about.
Oh, I like this. It's always a surprise.
Yeah.
All right. So the first one we're going to talk about is the DC Universe Infinite app. They are offering a new upgrade, a new plan. So this will be the new Ultra tier, and it reduces the time between print copies of comics and digital releases from 6 months to 30 days.
Oh.
Yeah. And you also get access to 5,000 more catalog issues. So the introductory price is $99 for a year in the United States.
I mean,
And the
that's
comics
less than
library
$10 a month,
expands.
so.
Yeah, the comics library expands from 27,000 to 32,000 by mid-November, and then new comics will be available just 30 days after print release. All
I'm
right.
not sure what day my subscription re-ups, but I think I'll just go ahead and opt for that, even though I don't
same
use
here.
that service nearly as much as I should.
That is true. I don't use it as much as I should, which makes me mad at myself. But I also don't regret it because, again, you read 1 or 2 a month, you're pretty much paid for it.
Well, now you'd have to read 3 or 4 a month, but still, that's not a lot to ask, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So there you go, folks. For everybody who already is part of DC Universe Infinite or you've been thinking about it now, you can pay a little bit more, but get more comics and get them quicker. And so if you're one of those people who really likes to stay up to date, this is good. This is a great option for you. So I wanted to get that news out there, which is pretty cool.
I mean, there was a time when I was, at peak reading a couple of years ago, I think I was spending $40 to $60 a week on my pull list. So $99 a year, that ain't bad if you're an avid reader.
Yeah, exactly. Same. So speaking of apps, so not DC Universe Infinite, but we're moving over to HBO Max. Me and Brendan did mention this on the last episode, but it is worth a real mention, and that is that Harley Quinn is getting a Valentine's Day special. So not only has Harley Quinn, the animated series, been renewed for another season, they're also getting what they're calling a very problematic Valentine's Day special, just in time for February of 2023.
Do we have a premiere date for season 4 yet? I've forgotten.
Not that I am aware of.
Okay.
But all it says here is that the Valentine's special will cover Harley and Ivy celebrating their first Valentine's Day as a couple, while also revealing how the rest of the ragtag crew spends the gushiest, mushiest, most romantic day of the year.
I'm all in. As a matter of fact, not 2 hours ago, I just finally watched the season 3, episode 10. Was it the finale? Season finale?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was pretty timely for me. There goes another bird banging into my window.
Is that a bird again?
Yes.
That
was
is
a much
insane.
smaller bird than last time, but yes, that was another bird banging into my friggin' window.
That is so crazy.
Ugh.
Anyway, I'm excited about this just because I'm a sucker for holiday specials. You know this. And there are very few Valentine's Day specials, and a Valentine's Day special starring Harley and Ivy. Sign me up. I'm down. More of this, please. More and more of all the holidays. And you can just do Harley and I. You can start with Harley, but you could branch out. I want DC holiday specials every year.
Yes. I mean, the comics, they do quarterly publications that are usually like, the 80-page giant specials where they just have like a compilation of short stories in it. And they'll do Valentine's Day. They'll do, a summer one. They'll do a fall one and a Christmas one typically. So, I mean, why can't we get this for the animated shows too?
I know. I love those specials. Like, you're right. Like, it would be so cool to do essentially a version of that on HBO Max where it might be a bunch of short stories featuring a bunch of random DC characters, but it would be so fun.
I mean, we should tell the guy in charge of HBO Max that people actually give a shit about stuff like that and have him not listen to us.
Good luck with that. Let me know how it goes. But hey, a Harley special, it's something. If people watch it, you never know. All things are possible.
I'm going to watch it. I don't know. I can't speak for you, but I'm going to guess probably so. But I'm in.
I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
I will be watching it. Speaking of HBO Max, we are getting more of Doom Patrol and Titans. And so Doom Patrol Season 4 now has a trailer. That's a pretty short trailer. It's like minute and a half. Not long, but there is quite a bit in there. And this is something where we talked about is like we don't really know what the future of Titans and Doom Patrol look like, but the Season 4 for both series was already well into production when everything kind of went up in the air. So we at least know we're going to get Season 4. And this is coming to us in December, on December 8th. So, did you watch the trailer?
Yes.
Okay, great. What'd you think?
Well, the teaser snippet of the bloody hand coming up just felt really appropriate.
That's Titans. That's Titans.
Yeah, you said, yeah. Okay.
Did I say
the
Titans
Doom Patrol
or did I say Doom Patrol?
Yep. Sorry. I haven't had enough coffee yet today. Forgive me.
That's because your kids drank it all.
My kids drank all my pumpkin coffee.
Rotten kids. Oh. Yeah. I'm going to go give Harley some in her bottle, see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry. We're starting with Doom Patrol, then we're going to Titans.
Doom Patrol. So, full disclosure, I have not yet watched Doom Patrol Season 3. So, I'm a little out of date on what may be happening with some of the character arcs and whatnot, but this might have been the most Doom Patrol thing I've ever seen, with the chorus line dancing butts in the containment unit and, you know, the colorful phrasing from Brendan Fraser's Robot Man. And I wasn't a huge fan of Season 3. Like it was, or Season 2, excuse me. It didn't just, it had that weirdness. It had, you know, everything that we liked about Season 1 so much, but it never really took off for me the way that first season did. So I'm not in a rush to watch Season 3, but watching this trailer kind of reminds me of what I did love about that show in the first season so much. That unique feel. It's you know, dead serious at times, but it never really lets go of that fun element at some points. This just encapsulated everything that I liked and felt about that. And it alludes to hopefully being quite a bit of action going on in this too, because that is one thing that I would say about Doom Patrol is it maybe does lack a little bit in that spectacle department from time to time, because, you know, it's so character driven anyway, which I appreciate, but, you know, we watch this stuff to be entertained, of course. So this looked and felt to me exciting enough that it makes me want to go catch up and watch Season 3 and get into this. But unfortunately, that's going to have to wait until November because I'm smack dab in the middle of Scarathon right now.
Yep, I know. I know what you mean. It's always tough taking a break in the middle of Scarathon for anything else. Next week I'm doing it for Black Adam, but I still am trying to find a way to count it as Scarathon because it feels weird to take the break.
If there is a single monster in there, you can count it.
I mean, we know there is. We know there's a demon.
Okay, there you go. Done.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I have enjoyed all the seasons of Doom Patrol, including Season 2, including Season 3. But I mean, I understand, like, the first season was just felt so different and so unique. It's always hard to live up to that, but I think that overall it's been very consistent and I've enjoyed it. I like this trailer. I did love the big dramatic buildup of what we were going to see of these creatures, and it ended up being a musical number with the monster butts. I was very amused by that. It worked for me. And then getting
Shapoopy, no less.
Yeah. Oh. It was great. And then just getting the glimpses of the rest of the team back and just having fun with it. And yeah, I mean, I really love the show anyway. This seems to not be missing a beat. Looks very consistent with what we've seen so far. I did say in Season 3, I really did love the addition of Michelle Gomez. I'm very interested to see how her character is going to continue here. So I love seeing her in here. But yeah, I mean, and then punctuating it with Fraser's Robot Man is the way to go because he's just so damn funny.
They hired the right guy for that job, I think.
They did. So yeah, it's a short trailer, but enough to go, oh yay, Doom Patrol's coming back, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm excited. Coming on December 8th, which, you know, to the earlier point, then I will be in the middle of Cheerathon, and so I might watch this in January. We'll see.
Well, I mean, if we save it up for January, it'll get us out of that slum that we're always in after Cheerathon gets over with.
I know. And I
Slump,
mean,
not slum. I can't even talk today. Lord have mercy.
that's okay. So, like even now, people are like, "Oh, like I keep wanting to watch Rings of Power, but I haven't because I'm in the middle of Scareathon. This is just a bad time to drop it because I'm very focused in horror right now." But
Same.
I
I'm
look,
going to have so many shows to watch by the time November hits.
yeah, exactly. So I haven't started House of Dragons or Rings of Power. So because sorry, right now it's all Halloween all the time.
House of Dragons. I have thoughts, mostly positive, but I have thoughts on that show.
Yeah, you usually have thoughts.
Yeah.
But anyway, Doom Patrol season 4, it is coming in December for those who want to break from holiday viewing. But again, odds are pretty good. I'm just going to wait a little bit and do it. Yeah, January. Like last year, Peacemaker got us through January, which was fun. So maybe this year it'll be Doom Patrol.
Wow. It doesn't seem like Peacemaker was that far back, but
Yeah,
huh.
January.
Is that when we're getting Peacemaker season 2?
I don't know.
This is the problem with the streaming stuff is you get however many episodes, 8, 10, 12 episodes of a show, but you never seem to be on a consistent schedule of when it's released.
Right.
At least when you had the network TV, you knew it was probably going to be sometime in like early September, mid-September when the new season was going to start and it would run through April or May.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't
but
think they've even shot Peacemaker season 2 because I feel like James Gunn is wrapped up in finishing Guardians 3.
well, I mean, he was also doing the Thomas Wayne movie, so he was in the middle of that too.
Yeah. Obviously with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes.
So yeah, my guess is no, it's going to be a little longer before we get Peacemaker season 2, and especially with Doom Patrol and Titans coming at the end of this year, that will really, I think, fill in that gap. Do we have? Oh, okay. Titans is actually next month in November.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks away, 3 weeks
Yeah.
away.
So crap. Titans season 4 comes in November, and we got some character costumes, and then we got some clips, and we got a teaser. So we actually got quite a bit of content for Titans over the past few weeks. The first thing I want to talk about is the costumes. They released photos of Brother Blood, who is being played by Joseph Morgan. A photo of Jinx, who is being played by Lisa Ambalavinar. And Mother Mayhem being played by Franca Potent. So the first thing I'll say is of those 3 characters, the only one I know is Brother Blood. I don't know Jinx or Mother Mayhem. Do you know them?
I've read that arc, but it's been a few years, and I just read it for the first time, so it's not like something I'm familiar with along the lines of like stuff that I've read multiple times. But I feel like I know those other names, but I don't want to say for sure. I think Mother Mayhem was definitely involved in that arc. I'm almost sure she was, but
All
maybe I'm
right.
just thinking of some other weird, crazy priestess thing in that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I guess the point is they released the costume pictures. I really dig the one for Brother Blood. I think he looks really cool. If you remember, Brother Blood was in Arrow, and when he was in Arrow, he was very much. It was kind of like the Nolan Scarecrow, where it was just a dude in a suit, but then he put on a mask. Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
So this is not that. This is full on supervillain costume, cape, and a suit that looks like it has like teeth on it, and a mask and everything. He looks really badass. It's not like I feel like the mask is very different from what you see in the comics, but at the same time, he looks really cool, and I'm into it. Jinx not having anything to compare it to. She looks cool too. I like her outfit. It looks very comic booky. And then same with Mother Mayhem, because I don't really have strong opinions on what they should look like. I just appreciate that they look like they are in a comic book show.
And that's one thing that I can say about Titans, even though some things may not work for me, is most of the costumes look really, really good.
They do. I agree. I think that whoever their costume designer is does a great job, and they always look great. And yeah, of these, I think Brother Blood is my favorite. And then in addition to these 3, they also revealed photos of Gar's Beast Boy costume. So up until now, he's always just worn the jacket, which again, it's the right colors and it pretty much looks like Beast Boy. But this time they really are giving him a super suit, and it is red and white, and it's really great. I really love it. So it's nice that he's finally getting a suit too that looks awesome. So again, big shout out to the costume designer for Titans. I feel like they always nail it, and I don't think these are, you know, I don't think these change that. Yeah. See, I can talk too.
More coffee. More coffee.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. So anyway, cool new costumes, and then there was the teaser that you mentioned, and that's what you were going to talk about.
Yeah.
It's truly just a teaser, though.
Absolutely. But you know, it felt really timely given the whole Scarathon thing we've got going on. It felt thematically appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know how much of the horror angle they'll lean into, but it certainly was billed as a horror teaser on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does feel like it's really leaning into Brother Blood, right? There were kind of like glowing runes, and it had a very like macabre, like old school, almost demonology feel to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then yes, there's like a vat of blood, and a hand comes out. Not dissimilar from Jack Napier's hand in Batman '89.
Oh, good call.
But this time just bloody. So it does feel like, oh, Brother Blood is emerging, which great. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do.
And then they had dropped 3 different clips that I saw. I think it's just the 3, but again, there were so many. I was like, I think I found them all, but who knows? So there was a clip of Nightwing and Tim Drake fighting some ninjas.
That's one I did not see. But
yeah, Nightwing is fully in costume with the billy clubs. Tim Drake is not. He is in street clothes, but he has the bow staff.
It's just going to be one of those things where they're just going to drag it along and make him Robin by the end of the season, you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. much like I think it's season 2 when Dick Grayson finally becomes Nightwing in the last episode. I think it's going to be the same thing here. Is Tim Drake is going to be Tim Drake through the whole season, and at the end he'll finally suit up.
I mean, we're used to it now, right?
We are, and it's like, do you really need to? But at the same time, the rest of the team is fully suited up, so I'll be a little more forgiving of waiting for Tim to be. Yeah. But anyway, so it's mostly just an action moment with Nightwing fighting off these ninjas and Tim Drake behind him, but it's pretty cool. Much like the costumes, I think generally the fights in the show are pretty darn good, and this is no different. And then there is another one that also features Tim Drake, because I do appreciate that the team is all together, which was our big complaint about the last couple of seasons. At least in these clips, the team is all together. I hope it stays that way. They're all together, and they all left at the end of season 3, right? In this RV. That there is an RV. And they pull over, and they make Connor empty out the shitter. But yeah, like they're all cruising in the RV. So I kind of appreciate like this idea of like this Titans road trip of the whole team being here. But while they're doing it, Tim Drake is like, hey, take my picture with the post staff. And so Connor's taking pictures of him, and they're like, what are you doing? Who's this for? Is this for a profile picture? And he says it's for Bernard from Star Labs, who made the bow staff for him. And Bernard is Tim's current love interest in the film, or not in the films, excuse me, in the comics.
So really keeping up with the times on that.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they didn't waste any time. They brought Bernard right in, and they're making Tim queer one way or another. I don't know if he's bi like in the comics or what, but I appreciate that they like immediately incorporated that into the show.
Absolutely.
But he's got the bow staff, and again, he's not really suited up. And then there is a power surge or a power issue, and you hear Lex Luthor speaking to Connor, and Lex Luthor is being played by Titus Welliver, who I know best from Lost. I know he's done a bunch of other stuff too. I think a lot of nerdy stuff like that, but like I knew him from Lost.
Who was he on Lost?
Oh my God. I don't even remember his character's name. I feel like he was called like the Man in Black or something, right?
I don't remember
Wasn't he
that.
essentially the devil, I think, in
Was he?
Lost?
Okay, yeah. I don't.
That's my
There's so many details about that show I don't remember now.
it's been a few years, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I remember towards the end, there was Jacob, who seemed like he was like a Jesus analogy.
yeah.
And then there was the man in black who was like the devil, and I want to say that was Titus Welliver.
Okay. I
So
know the
anybody
name, and I
any
don't know if I know it from Lost or if I've seen him in other things. But
you have seen him in other things. Like he has been in a lot of stuff. Anybody out there listening who's a bigger Lost fan than I, maybe you can remind me, but that is my memory, and we all know that we can't even trust our memories anymore. But anyway, to me, it seems like really good casting for Lex. I don't love the big bushy beard, if I'm being honest. That feels
yeah,
weird.
they always like to just tweak some look or another that makes people go, but it's. I'm really more interested in the character than the appearance, so we'll go with
Yeah,
it.
it is what it is. It's fine, but
Of course, I said the same thing about Scarecrow in the last season, and I was like, yeah, I'll go with this. I'll see where they're going to go, and just at some point, I was like, yeah, I'm going to ride with you and see where we go. And then by the end, I was just like, okay, I'm done with this guy.
yeah.
So,
But I mean, I love the voice, right? And I think again, I think it's really good casting, and it's going to be interesting to see how involved he is with this season. But I think it's an intriguing notion to bring in Lex Luthor, and that he has his sights set on Connor one way or the other.
well, it is his son after all, right?
Half son, but yeah.
Yeah. So much like you, I mean, I told you before we started recording, I had thoughts here, but the thing that excited me the most about this is they're all together.
Yeah.
They're traveling together. The whole group is here and represented. And not only that, but once of course we have the Superman 78 now, with Lex communicating with the frequency that only Connor can hear, which, I like nods here and there like that. It's nothing crazy, but, just enough to make you go, yeah, I remember that. But the thing that made me even more excited was he doesn't say, I have to go back to Metropolis. He doesn't say, I have to go handle this business with Lex Luthor. He doesn't say any of that. He says, we have to go back to Metropolis, which means it's giving me hope that they're going to
all
stay together through this season. I mean, what a concept, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. What's funny is I was watching these clips this morning with my coffee, and Catherine came downstairs and she watched them with me, and she goes, well, it looks like, we're getting some more superhero action this season. I'm like, man, I hope so. Or it's just these clips and that's it. But I hope you're right, because that is what's really been lacking, is the team together and really just leaning into the superhero-ness of it. And these 3 clips feel like they're doing that. And I hope that is indicative of the whole season and not just episode 1. And then they're all going to break up again.
Yeah.
I think we're very much on the same page as far as that goes, but this is promising, but I've been lied to before.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. So anyway, and then there is a final clip, and the final clip is of the team all together, and they all go get suited up, except for Tim, who's kind of wearing street clothes. They all get suited up to fight Mother Mayhem. And so they're like in the street, and they realize who's there. And Dick literally is like, okay, suit up, guys. And they all go put on their suits. They come out and they have a fight in the street with Mother Mayhem. What bugs me about it is they go after her one at a time, where I was like, that feels like, you've got a bunch of members on a team. Don't everybody wait for their turn. Like, I feel like y'all could be more successful if you work together. But they all come in together, and Gar is wearing his super suit, and it looks super cool. So again, this shows them suiting up as a superhero team and fighting a villain, and they all get a chance. And she takes a few of them down. Starfire seems to have the most success here, but some cool superhero action, and again, promising. I hope this is more of what we're going to be getting this season.
I have not seen this clip, but from what you're describing, I agree. I hope that is more of what we're getting this season.
Yeah. So, well, you can watch it after this. And I should have been clearer of how many clips there were, because it seems like you went on YouTube and you're like, oh, there's the teaser, there's a clip. Great, I'll watch those. But
well, I went on YouTube, and there's like a bunch of stuff from 6 years ago, and it's like, yeah, I'm not scanning through all this. So I saw that the teaser things were on HBO Max, so I just flipped over to there and watched what was on HBO Max for Doom Patrol and Titans. I didn't realize that there was more to it than that.
Yeah. So
the teacher gave me homework, but he didn't tell me how much homework there really was.
I apologize. I need to be more specific. But anyway, I think all the clips are really promising, and I like the show anyway. I mean, I do agree with you and with a lot of the folks that the show, it always holds it back from what it could be. And that's it can be frustrating because I feel like they have all the right parts and pieces. They have the right actors, they have the right costumes, they have everything they need, and yet they just keep getting in their own way, is I think what I said the most during season 3. They just keep getting in their own way. So, but that aside, I still enjoy the show. I still always look forward to watching it. And so I'm looking forward to season 4. And I hope that, again, this is indicative of going more in the direction that we all had been asking for.
Well, I mean, you have to believe that your creative and production team are aware of fan murmurings and, what they like and what they don't. I mean, people can say that they don't pay any attention to that stuff, but at some point they had to have caught wind of, people really like this about the show, people really don't like this about the show. And, every year they've got to be right on the fence of whether or not they're going to get renewed or canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm correct in my assumption, you have to believe that they're going to throw everything they can at this season to make it what everybody was asking for, or to make it a true Titan show instead of an individual character drama with periodic action and costumes.
Yeah.
At least that's my hope. And if they do that and it's successful, you would think that would increase the chances for a season 5. But if not, let us go out with a bang and get this fine. If this is the final season, let us get the season that we wanted from the beginning, right?
Right. But I also feel like that's been true between every season. Like, I feel like we felt that way before season 2, and then again before season 3, and now again before season 4. So,
well, thanks for pissing on my parade, Andy. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm just just being realistic about it. But like,
You're
I feel
right.
like we've always felt that to be the case. But hey, hope springs eternal, and we'll hope this is finally it. We'll find out in a few weeks. November's coming, which I don't want to think about because it makes me sad.
Yeah, I'm not ready for October to be done yet. I haven't gotten done everything I need to do. Matter of fact, we're going to corn mazes today. So
hey, that's perfect. I love it. Yeah. Well, our plan is to finally finish decorating the yard. So,
how do you do a corn maze in an orange grove? That's what I want to
know. It's more of an orange maze.
Okay.
I think.
I mean, orange is a Halloween color, to be fair. So.
Yeah, I've heard that in Florida, like, they're like, yeah, there's corn mazes, but it's like not corn so much as it's like bamboo or like, like very tropical plants. And I'm like, oh, well, you work with what you got.
Yeah.
Let's move over to movies or movie related things away from HBO Max. And the first thing we want to talk about is The Batman. And this was actually kind of fun and interesting that came out. So Barry Keoghan, who we now know is playing the Joker in the new franchise, he actually submitted a video audition to play the Riddler. And so I have not watched the video. It is on Vimeo, and I don't go to Vimeo. But it sounds like this was unsolicited. He just heard that the movie was happening. He heard the Riddler was going to be a part of it. And he was so interested that he submitted this video audition, and then he heard back from this agent being like, nope, they've already cast the Riddler, sorry. And so then not long after that, they called him back and said, but what if you played the Joker? And so they cast him as the Joker, but he couldn't tell anyone about it, which we know because then they did those fake scenes that they shot in the street with him to make it look like he was going to play a cop or something. And then, but what's interesting is as this all came up, he had an interview recently with GQ, and he talked a little bit about his take on the Joker. So he said he did work with the team on the look of the Joker, and his biggest request was to keep his own eyes for the final look. He said, I wanted some sort of human in there behind the makeup. I want people to relate to him, to know that this is a facade he puts on. He sees the Joker as a broken down boy. So I just thought that was interesting. Like, honestly, I think he could have been a great Riddler too, for what it's worth. Like, I totally could see it. And he the video that he did, he's got himself with like green suspenders and a bowler hat, and he actually looks pretty cool. So I think that could have worked. But hey, you know what? Like, he got a second shot, and Joker is, I would say, a hell of a consolation prize.
Yeah, I would say that's I mean, no disrespect to all you Riddler fans out there, because I know you're the biggest one I know, but that's like handing somebody a $5 poker chip and getting $10 back, you know?
No, I don't even disagree with you. I totally. So it all worked out for him in the end, but I also just appreciate that, like, I guess he loves Batman. If he was so interested in playing a Batman villain that he submitted his own audition without even being asked. I think I love that passion. I love that interest, and I think that's cool.
There's something to be said about projects being made by people who love the source material
Yeah.
and characters and whatnot.
So yeah, I'm glad it worked out for him, and I am interested to see what becomes of his Joker.
I'm a little apprehensive about some of the things he said there, though, if I'm being honest. I don't necessarily want. Now, I'll roll with it because I'm seeing all kinds of things lately that I'm liking, even though they don't exactly line up with what I know previously. I know that's being really ominous about it, but
the timing of that comment, I get it.
yeah. Okay. So anyway, I don't know that I necessarily want a human and relatable broken boy Joker, but I'll certainly wait until I see the finished product out on a screen somewhere before I cast any sort of judgment for it. But that makes me a little apprehensive.
Yeah, I don't even disagree, because like where he's like, oh yeah, this is a facade that he puts on. Like, I'm like, wow, I've never seen it that way. I've always felt like, no, the Joker, that's who this guy is deep down inside. And the only one he's interested in impressing is himself. He doesn't care enough to put on a facade or put on an act to impress or to influence other people. I just feel like this is someone who is 100% being who they are deep down inside, and the hell with everything else. But again, we'll see how this translates to the actual performance and what comes of the character in future films. But yeah, I actually agree with you. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that, but hey,
Well, I feel like we just had a 2-hour movie 3 years ago that gave us very much what he's talking about as far as that character is concerned. And even though I very much like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker film, I enjoy is just not the right word to use for it, but I like that movie a lot. I don't think that's the Joker I want in a canonic Batman film, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and again, I'm putting words in his mouth and my own assumptions from what he said, but I feel like that's kind of what he's shooting for here.
Yeah, more of the broken, yeah.
Like more of the sympathetic
down,
Joker.
Like, right. Yeah.
I don't want to feel bad for the Joker. I want the Joker to be a terrifying menace that Batman has to deal with, and even he's going to have a struggle with it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, that's getting ahead of myself. We'll see what happens.
Right. Right now they're just comments, and we just, you see how it then translates later.
Sure, absolutely. I'll go on the ride and I will not be negative about it until I have a reason to be negative about it. So.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Batman villains from the Batman, we actually have some more info about the Penguin TV series coming to HBO or HBO Max. I don't know if there's a difference, but anyway, it's coming. So Colin Farrell talked a little bit about it, speaking with Extra. So he said about the Penguin series, he said it starts a week after the Batman ends, so Gotham is still somewhat underwater. I read the first script for the first episode, and it opens up with my feet splashing through the water in Falcone's office. He's very excited. He says, I love the character. I was greedy with it. I felt like I didn't have enough. I wanted to do it more and more, so now I get the chance. And Craig Zobel is signed on to direct the first 2 episodes. He did The Mayor of Easttown, which I do not know. But no details on filming or release yet, but we know it picks up where the film left off, which I actually think is pretty cool.
I am very much excited about that, because the one thing I've been worried about with the show right along is I don't want the prequel Penguin series. I want the sequel Penguin series.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I want to see his rise to power now that Falcone's off the board.
exactly. So yeah, they're giving me what I want. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and very interesting that like it's immediately after. Again, like I would have expected like, oh, 6 months later, and here's the new status quo. But I think that's an interesting choice. But I'm here for it, and I think it sounds cool. So I'm excited this is still moving forward. I'm excited to hear and see more when it actually goes into production. But I like what I hear.
Absolutely. And it makes it a legitimate bridge between the Batman and the Batman 2 now, right?
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
we would
Exactly.
certainly assume so.
Mm-hmm. And nice
And
that they have a director signed on.
yeah. It
So
also leaves great potential for, and I'm not expecting like a whole episode or anything, but is Batsy going to show up in the show
I hope. I sure do hope.
with his brand new car?
Oh, great. Great,
Sorry,
good,
I
good.
had to take one shot.
Good.
Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
I'm a terrible human being. Anyway,
You do you. It's all good. So anyway, nice to hear progress. Nice to get an update. I feel like it has been a minute since we've heard any real news about it, and at least knowing that he's read the script, he likes it, he's excited. He actually gave us details, which I don't know if he's allowed to, but he did. Good for him. It's exciting.
I ever tell you how much I love Colin Farrell?
I do too. I think
I'm a
he's
big
great.
fan. He's
Yeah.
fantastic. I just watched the Fright Night remake the other day, man. He's so good in that.
He is. Do you know who else I love? Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, he's happening.
Yeah, he's great. So he is out there promoting The Whale, which there's already Oscar buzz for. But he can't go promote The Whale without people asking about Batgirl.
Of course not.
Of course not. But here's what he said. He gave some more comments, and he just said, it's tragic. It doesn't engender trust among filmmakers in the studio. Leslie Grace was fantastic. She's a dynamo, just a spot-on performer. Everything we shot was real and exciting, and just the antithesis of doing a straightforward digital all green screen thing. They ran fire trucks around downtown Glasgow at 3 a.m, and they had flamethrowers. It was a big budget movie, but one that was just stripped down to the essentials. And then they also asked him if he saw the rough cut, and he said, I don't eat half-baked cake. And then Aronofsky was asked about his Batman film when he was working on Batman Year One, and he said this. He said it was after Batman and Robin, the Joel Schumacher one, that had been a big hiccup then at Warner Brothers, so I pitched them an R-rated, boiled-down origin story of Batman, a rated R superhero movie that was probably 10 to 15 years out of whack with the reality of the business then. He said he worked on the script with Frank Miller. He said it had promise, but it was just a first draft. The studio wasn't really interested. It was a very different take. And he said it was just too early for such a concept. I was always saying, why can't there be several different types of comic book movies out there? And now there are. It's just that our timing was off.
I think he's a little, I don't know the right word to use, exaggerated in that time frame of how far ahead of its time it would have been, because I mean Blade came out in 98.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I think it's funny because I mean I certainly understand, like, for Batman, the studio would want a 4-quadrant summer blockbuster, and that's not what he was pitching. But if you go and you look at what he was pitching, it's not just that it was R-rated. It was like very off base of everything that had been established with Batman previously. It sounded interesting for sure, but it also felt like, I mean, he went the complete other direction, and I respect that, but I also don't blame WB for going, this is probably not where we want to go.
Yeah, I get that. In today's day and age, and this is where he's probably right. If he pitches this idea in today's day and age with, in the pre-Zaslav era, it's a lot easier to say, hey, maybe we do like a $50 million R-rated Batman movie for HBO Max.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point, if you look at Joker, right, that's something that wouldn't have flown 25 years ago.
Sure. Well,
And
maybe
this,
he's
honestly, this
probably
is
right
similar
about
to
that.
that, right?
Yeah,
This
sure.
was a stripped down, completely out of continuity, completely like rejiggering the accepted mythos of the character, doing something completely different with it. Like, if I can find an equivalent, it would be the Joker movie. So, yeah, I mean, in that respect, he was just too early.
I mean, in the perfect world, we get 4 Batman movies a year. We get one in the world of, Reeves with his ongoing trilogy. We get one that's like Aronofsky's pitch, where it's just a really bizarre, off the beaten path original take that's toying around with the ideas and the lines of Elseworlds. You get the blue and gray, borderline family friendly Batman, and then you get the one in the shared universe with the Justice League. But we're not in that world yet, unfortunately. But I feel like we could be if we really wanted to. You hear me, Zaslav?
I mean, it would be nice. I would support it, obviously. But I mean, for all the people who already say too much Batman, which
I
I
don't
don't
need that kind. I
understand.
don't need
I
that
don't
kind of
understand.
negativity in
Yeah.
my life. There's no such
That's
thing as
like
too much
saying
Batman.
too much pizza, too much nachos. I don't
Well,
want to hear it, but yeah,
sex again
I like
tonight?
that
No,
plan.
forget it.
Yeah, I like that plan. But anyway, just interesting to hear Brendan Fraser give some additional thoughts on Batgirl and to hear Aronofsky look back at the time he pitched that R-rated year one Batman movie.
Aronofsky's a weird guy, but man, he's. I don't like everything that I've seen of his. There's still a couple I haven't seen, but like this cat is not afraid to take big swings. So I'd be interested in seeing what he would have done, even if it may not have necessarily worked. I might have appreciated the effort.
Yeah, I think same. Yeah, he's not my jam, but like I also kind of respect what he does. It's just not necessarily made for me.
He's pretty fearless. I mean, he's not afraid to set people off a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the couple of films he's done based in religious aspects, I would say, prove that point. But
Yeah. All right. Well, we also got another update for Wonder Woman 3.
oh,
So, yeah, Patty Jenkins was at the Matera Film Festival and was asked about Wonder Woman. And she said, I just wrote last week the final scene for Wonder Woman 3. And I thought I'd be interested to see what happens next. And then she said that the studio has asked us to think of ways to do more. And it accidentally happens, but you never know. I have a lot of other films I'm excited to do as well.
can I get that Rogue One film, please? Not
at
Rogue
this
One,
at
Rogue
this rate,
Squadron.
probably not. But
Rogue Squadron. But anyway,
so anyway, I think that is interesting, right? It's nice to hear some progress, much like with the Penguin. It's nice to hear progress on Wonder Woman 3, that it's moving forward.
so I want to ask you something because you're more attuned to the behind the scenes stuff. When she says she wrote the final scene, does that mean the script is now finished, or does that mean they just wrote the final scene of the film and they're going to build around it?
I take it to be the first. I think that means the script is finished.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they might not go back and massage and tweak and
Sure.
things, but to me, it sounds like there is now a finished script for Wonder Woman 3.
Okay.
Which is exciting because, again, it had been a long time since we'd heard anything other than, yeah, of course it's moving forward, but that doesn't mean anything. So this is the most we have heard, that the fact that the script does seem to be finished, or at least a version of it is. And everyone just sort of assumed this was going to be a trilogy. And we also just didn't know what was going to happen next with the amount of uncertainty around the studio. And so it's interesting that not only is she like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing what happens next. And the studio has also said, what else can you do? Like, so it's nice that it seems like there's still interest around Wonder Woman. I'm excited for Wonder Woman 3. I liked Wonder Woman 1984, so I'm excited for a third one. And I'm excited that they're not ready to close the book on this version of the character, because I love this version of the character. And if everyone's ready, if everybody wants to keep going, I am totally excited to keep paying for it.
Yeah, pretty much copy and paste everything you just said.
Great. So, and again, it's nice to hear the studio wants more Wonder Woman, which again muddies the waters of like, are they going to reboot? How are they going to reboot? Like it still seems so confusing to me. But I mean, Gal is Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa is Aquaman. These are assets that they are not ready to give up yet, and I don't blame them. It just, kind of puts a question mark over how does the connected universe work.
I mean, we as fans, you know, this show spends a lot of time talking about this stuff. We always say we really just want to know. We want to have the closure one way or the other. Will they, won't they, do they, don't they? But the fact of the matter is, I think these people in this studio are just as clueless about what's going to happen with it as we are. And
Yeah.
that's why we can never get an answer. And I
Right.
hate to say that because they shouldn't be that scrambled at this point. But I think if we're facing reality, I think that's truly where we're at, is they don't know any more than we do at this point.
That's true, because they keep saying, yeah, they're looking for someone to start steering the ship, and that hasn't happened yet. And so everything is still sort of just kind of moving forward, the stuff that was already moving forward. But
I mean,
I
you have this job that should be like the golden goose of jobs in Hollywood, right? You get a full house of popular or could be easily made popular superheroes to make a shared universe, however you want to do it, more or less. And you have potentially the two, maybe even, I mean, Batman and Superman. I mean, we know people know who they are. Everybody, my grandfather would have known who Batman and Superman are. I mean, it's just that simple. And you know, Wonder Woman obviously has become even more recognizable than she was before, and I think she was pretty darn recognizable before. You have the ability to play with these three characters plus everything else in this universe, and you don't have any rights issues with any other characters being at any other studio, and they can't get somebody that wants this job. Like, they don't have people literally going up there knocking on the door every day saying, please let me do this. I will do it for half the money that you're willing to pay because I really want the job. Something's not right here, guys.
I know. Well, I mean, it is funny. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of a great analogy, but it's like, um, instead of like essentially giving someone Disneyland that is like working perfectly and in perfect condition and going, hey, here's Disneyland, it's yours now, make it what you want. They essentially are giving them the rundown Happy Kingdom from Escape from LA and going, here now, you get to fix this, make this Disneyland.
And you only have these tools to do it with, you know. And
Yeah.
there have to be some regulations or mandates behind this deal that people are like, well, you know, I'd like the job, but this is just too much to ask of me doing it this way. Like, you know, Zaslav may be saying you can't use these characters or you have to do it in this fashion. Something, there's something holding this up somewhere.
Well, I mean, and it goes back to what we talked about a few episodes ago. Just like there are all these rumors that like the Warner Brothers Discovery era is only temporary anyway. And, you know, of course, Zaslav and Discovery deny it, because of course they are. They're not going to admit, go, oh yeah, we're stripping it so we can sell it again. No, nobody's going to ever say that out loud. But like, that is a huge fear. And so for everybody interviewing for this job, they're like, I don't know how long this is going to last. You're handing me a completely messed up house that I have to put into order. I don't know how long I get to do it. Like, I understand it's super high pressure. It's high risk. In the end, it could be high reward, but are they even going to have the time to get there?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy to take the job, but
Well, they don't ask us.
no, they don't. They don't ask the people who might actually have some semblance of what they'd be doing. I mean, not that I'm a film production guy or anything, but I have some understanding of these characters.
Yeah. So, anyway, Wonder Woman 3, I'm excited that it seems to be moving forward. I'm ready for another chapter, and I hope that it goes into production sooner than later. But we just have to wait and see.
I want to watch it.
But something that is coming to us in just a few days is Black Adam. So we got some Black Adam stuff to talk about because Dwayne Johnson is out there doing a million interviews. He's out there promoting the movie like a wild man, and we love him for it, and building as much hype as he possibly can. And so this was something that he was asked by Cinema Blend if he wants Black Adam to fight Superman. And here's what he says. He says, absolutely. That's the whole point of this, man. Thank you for asking that. I've been saying for some time there's a new era in the DC universe that's about to begin. And what I meant what I meant by that was introducing a brand new character. It's not a sequel, not an existing IP. It was, Black Adam. 2 years ago, the world had no idea who he was. We did, but not, the rest of the mass out there. Introducing the JSA, introducing the new era of the DC universe, but also what I really meant by this is a new era in the DC universe is listening to the fans. Listening to the fans and doing our best to give the fans what they want. And maybe sometime down the road, and I went through this in pro wrestling, is you can't always give them what they want, but you always know that we're listening. And in this case, with what you and I are talking about, I've been listening and I've been wanting to address fans for years because I've been waiting for someone to step up and address the fans and say, hey, we hear you. So finally, after many months turned into many years, we ended up with what we ended up at. And the whole goal and intention now is to this new era, new time. Now let's build out.
That seems encouraging but vague.
I mean, yeah, it's exactly what it is. That is a very accurate description of that.
That sounds like him being the typical guy that he is. He knows how to work a crowd.
Yeah. I mean, and I how can you not love the guy, right? I feel like we all love him, right? I mean, rightfully so. Great. Yeah, we all love him. And it's for stuff like this. Like he wants to give the fans what they want, and he's doing everything in his power to do so. And so, and I said this recently. The Vigilante 1939 podcast was kind enough to have me on, and I said this here is, in order for him to make this Black Adam movie, and to decide that not only is it a Black Adam movie, which great, like that's his prerogative. He's The Rock, he can make a Black Adam movie, but he's going to use this Black Adam movie not only to feature Black Adam, but also to connect it to the existing continuity and the existing previous films like Suicide Squad with the inclusion of Amanda Waller. He's also using it to expand the DC universe on film by introducing the Justice Society. And then also try and add things like this alleged cameo to make sure the fans know that he cares and he's listening and he's doing what he can to deliver what they want. So like to use this Black Adam movie to try to do all of those things, he just gets mad respect from me.
I mean, I hate to say the guy's all about money, but I mean, he's a businessman first and foremost, and he understands that the more he pleases his audience, the more money is going to go into his pocket for it. Now, I'm not saying he's greedy or that's his only drive, but let's be real about this here. If he thinks making all of these things happen, be it the connectivity, the introduction of new characters, and this cameo that everybody's been bloody screaming for, yeah, they're going to listen to him if he says, this is what I want to do, because he's a bona fide movie star. I dare say he's one of a very small handful of those that exist in today's day and age that people will go see a movie just because he's in it. And the fact that he's now getting into the superhero realm, which is, a pretty bankable thing to do nowadays. Yeah, to make this all it can be, they're going to do what he wants to appease him, and he's going to do everything to make everything the most successful, most appealing and pleasing thing that it can be. So it all just makes sense.
Yeah.
And with that comment, I apparently killed the whole show.
Nope, you're good. I agree. I'm just looking at the next note here as far as, because again, he's out there talking.
I want to add one more thing, and I know I've said this a couple times before, but he also knows how to give people what they want in the lead up to a movie and not deliver it in the movie. So everybody be cautiously aware of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that is part of the problem now, is I feel like at this point, I don't even know if it's a spoiler anymore, right? Like, I mean, it it seems like they're not even dancing around it anymore. So, take that as you will, but at this point, I think everybody is not only expecting it, but it's out there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I literally signed on to Facebook the other day, and like the first couple posts that were in my Facebook feed were about it. And then I was like, this seems weird that my phone hasn't like exploded about it. So then I logged into Twitter, which I'm not doing very much lately, but I did. And yeah, about the first 5 or 6 things on Twitter, we're talking about the same thing. I'm like, well, where there's smoke, I guess.
Well, and there's been smoke on this for months and months and months. I mean, even maybe more than that. So
Well,
it's
this feels like you can kind of see the fire coming up underneath the smoke
well,
too.
yeah. I mean, but it's gotten to the point where now it is just fire. And again, in recent interviews, they're not even dancing around it anymore. Which, I mean, that's fine. All right, like if at this point, like we would have all been surprised if it hadn't happened, but I'd been burned too many times in the past and been like, well, listen, I'm still not holding my breath because
Exactly. I mean,
anything can happen.
with all the discussion that's happened over it for however many months or a year or whatever it's been, all of us sitting in a movie theater or whatever for over the course of the next couple of weeks, none of us were going to be surprised about it.
Yeah,
we're just finally going to be like, yes, thank you. We got what we wanted, right? So I'm still going to go into the movie not expecting it, not basing my whole like or dislike of the film on whether or not this thing actually is going to happen. But
well, and especially because it's still it's still just a cameo. Like the movie is still the movie, right? The Black Adam movie is still the movie it's meant to be. And a nice little bonus cameo is great and it's awesome, but that doesn't make or break your movie.
Right. And it all depends on the context, which, clearly we have no idea what that context is going to be, but I look forward to it. But yeah. I'm also not, for all we know, they're going to cut it out before the movie gets released next week because shit like that tends to happen too. So,
yeah. So anyway,
I'm not going to this movie thinking that's why I'm going to the movie.
Of course not. No. But yeah, I mean, I'm super looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be great. And at this point, Dwayne Johnson, in his interviews, he was on the Tonight Show. He was talking to ET at the premiere, and there were questions about this cameo, and he addresses it pretty head on. And so I don't know if it's worth addressing or not. But I mean, it is what it is. Again, everybody pretty much knows what this is supposed to be, but the fact that Dwayne Johnson fought for it and now he's just sort of embraced it and is being very honest about it, I think is fine. We're a week away and they weren't able to keep the lid on it, and that's okay. Such as the price we pay for living in the information age where everything just gets out there. But it's great that he was able to make certain things happen, and I'm looking forward to the film. But again, I'm looking forward to the film mostly for Black Adam versus the JSA. That's what I'm super excited about. And then again, any fun little DC cameos that happen are just a great little bonus.
Certainly.
All right. Well, we are going to see that in less than a week, which is exciting. Really looking forward to it.
Hopefully I'll see it in less than a week. We'll see what schedule
October, man. October. Yeah. That's why I was last night, Catherine and I, we got a babysitter to go see Halloween Ends. And as we were driving home, I'm like, now we got to figure out Black Adam because that's next week. So same. I'm like, okay, what night can we go where we've got time to get the babysitter all set and then go see Black Adam? So we're trying to figure it out. And that is the plan. Unlike Halloween Ends, we don't have the streaming option. So we got to get out to the theater, and so we just got to make it work. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good week.
You have the streaming option if you can wait 45 additional days.
I cannot. That is unacceptable for me. But yeah, Black Adam is on its way in just a few days, and so it's exciting to get another big DC movie towards the end of the year. It feels like it's been a while. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a while to me. Anyway, that's it for the news. At least that's all I got for now. Do you have anything that I missed?
No. I have fighting cats. Does that mean anything to you?
Yes, that is important news.
Okay. Well, anyway, no, I don't have anything additional to add, I don't believe.
All right, great. Well, we are going to move on. We did watch the next episode of The Batman, but before we do that, I also have to give a shout out to our other sponsor, True Classic Tees. So today's episode is sponsored by True Classic, the brand that makes t-shirts actually fit, not to mention super soft. Finding the right t-shirt can be frustrating. Most t-shirts are too tight in all the wrong places or way too big and boxy, but not True Classic. They've already helped over 2 million men get their fit on and at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the absolute best deal that they offer. For a limited time, you get 25% off with the code BatCast at trueclassic.com. So go to trueclassic.com, peruse some of the t-shirts and other clothing there. If anything looks good to you, throw it in your cart. Buy yourself something nice. I think you're going to look nice, but use that promo code BATCAST for 25% off. Sometimes we wear the wrong clothes. We're guys. We buy what we buy. It doesn't always fit right. I don't know about you. I hate going into the changing room and trying stuff on, so I just buy stuff. But it's time to level up. Highlight your greatest assets with a t-shirt that you can confidently throw on anytime. True Classic. Go to trueclassic.com. Look around. If something speaks to you, make that purchase. But again, the promo code is BATCAST for 25% off. It's the best deal you're going to get. This is also your one-stop shop for all things menswear. And they make it super easy to build out your wardrobe, from polos to workout shirts with the same fit to boxer briefs. All their clothing is comfortable, long-lasting, and affordable. So trueclassic.com, and again, 25% off with BATCAST. Oh, and free shipping on purchases over $100. I just saw that. There you go. So use that BatCast promo code, buy yourself something nice, and much like our other sponsor, you are helping us in the process, and we do appreciate that. But now, let's talk about another episode of the animated series, The Batman.
It's pronounced The Batman.
The Batman. I meant that. I'm still blaming mornings and my mouth not working. All right. The Batman, Episode 2, Call of the Cobblepot, directed by Brandon Vietti and written by Stephen Melching. This one aired on September 18th, 2004. I love that it was directed by Brandon Vietti because he went on to do a lot of DC animated stuff. And so we have this Batman's first run-in with the Penguin. They're robberies of rich people throughout Gotham, but the robberies are being conducted by birds, by crows, by vultures. And we meet Oswald Cobblepot back in Gotham with his two Asian sidekicks. Yeah, sidekicks. They don't speak, but when they get mad, they take off their robes, and then they are badass ninjas with huge claws. So Bruce is having this charity gala, as he tends to do, and at this charity gala, Oswald Cobblepot shows up, and he meets Bruce Wayne, and he is happy to share that he is from the Cobblepots, another rich and respected family in Gotham. Turns out Alfred's family also has a history with the Cobblepots and was not a big fan. So Oswald makes a pig of himself at the charity banquet. He steals the guest list. He eats all the hors d'oeuvres. And eventually, he doesn't get kicked out, but he gets offended and he leaves. But then everybody who was on the guest list gets robbed by these birds. And so Batman traces it all back to the Penguin. He confronts him in this, it's like an aviary. And there's a big fight between Batman and the Kabuki twins and the Penguin. And Alfred is there to help too, because Alfred went back to get his serving tray that the Penguin stole from the charity. And so Alfred's there to help, but between Alfred and Batman, they're able to take down the Penguin, bury him under, I think it was a big thing of birdseed, I think.
Yep.
And Alfred is like, you know what? This was fun, but I'm going to leave this to you from then on. And so we have our first Penguin episode here in The Batman. So, Jamie, what'd you think?
Well, as with the Joker, and I'm going to guess this is going to be a recurring theme, they're not afraid to make some bold choices with some of these villains. I don't dislike the Penguin, but I'm going to be a little off balance until I get settled into the show of how different some of these characters are going to be. But it feels to me like they're doing with him very much what they do with the Joker, although his look may be a little closer to the more traditional. It's just, the mannerisms, how he acts, whatnot, they feel different. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they really feel like they're trying to make all of these villains more of a threat, especially in the physical aspect to
Mm-hmm.
Batman. In other
Mm-hmm.
words, all these guys and gals or whatever are going to be able to stand toe to toe with Batman. And that to me makes it somewhat interesting because that's not all they're doing with them, but it adds another element of being problematic for Batman. And I think I appreciate that. And we'll see how it goes, as I say, as we go along in the series. But it's interesting to me that we're taking that approach because so often not all of these villains are going to be a physical match for Batman. And he has to use his brain to outwit him, which, I appreciate the thought put into things where brains over brawn works, but at the same time, I like watching people punch each other too. So I'm kind of simple to please, I guess. But yeah, I thought this was an okay episode. I don't think it's anything earth shattering, but I don't think it's anything bad either. It's it's unique. Again, it's going to take me a minute to get my feet underneath me with this series because I am really new to it. I haven't watched very many episodes, and things are just different enough that I'm just going to have to get settled in and get used to it. But and no disrespect to the fans out there. So far, I think I like this more than I like Batman Beyond for whatever that's worth.
Okay. um, I mean, I actually really like this episode. And I think it is because, like, it's funny, you were saying that they make some strong choices with the villains. I feel like this Penguin is a little more faithful. He is unmistakably the Penguin. He's got his trick umbrellas. I like the umbrella, had a little bird head on the handle, kind of like Mary Poppins. I like that. But he looks like the Penguin. It's just the Penguin done in a slightly different art style.
Right.
The voice is done by Tom Kenny.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, yeah. And what I do appreciate is that because Tom Kenny did the Penguin in this, he ended up doing the Penguin in a lot of different things. And it all started here because I feel like he's the Penguin in Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some other things. I feel like he branched out from just this version of the character. But I really liked it actually. I thought it felt like a good Batman versus Penguin adventure. I like that they leaned into the Penguin using birds to commit his crimes because that was a very comic book thing that definitely has been abandoned in recent years. But I appreciated seeing it here because, yeah, in the comics he did do that. He had trained birds that he used to do things for him, and I liked that they had that as part of the story here. I thought the Kabuki twins are an interesting ad.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I loved them or hated them. It was just interesting. It was different. It was unique. I definitely remember them from the first time I watched the series because they are so unmistakable. But yeah, I think I like the story of the disgraced Cobblepots. He's coming back in. He's trying to restore the name, and at the same time, he's just such a mess, such a bull in a china shop that like you understand why the family isn't doing so well and how he's almost a con artist in that they're broke but he still wants to have this facade that he can be like the Waynes. I love when he like threw the money at Alfred and then Alfred opens it up and it's all singles just with a 100 on the top.
Yeah.
Which just shows where the Cobblepots are and the fact that Cobblepot Manor is all run down. I thought it was a good Penguin story. And I agree with you. I thought it was an interesting choice that he's still the Penguin. He's still short and chubby, but this is a Penguin that can still be agile and bounce around and jump around and actually fight Batman as opposed to just trying to shoot him with umbrellas and stuff. And I thought the Alfred stuff was really funny. Just Alfred having absolutely no patience for Oswald at all and going back to steal back his tray amused me. So I actually really liked this episode. I thought it was good.
It really felt like a very classic Alfred to me. In more recent years, the trend has become to make Alfred more of the secret agent turned butler instead of just a prim and proper British butler. And, there's nothing wrong with either version. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate aspects of both, but I feel like for me anyway, it's been a while since I've seen just that classic Alfred. And this
Yeah.
felt very classic to me in both appearance and in personality. So I appreciated that too.
Yeah, for sure. But I like that he left Wayne Manor. I like that he took it upon himself to be like, oh, that little jerk stole my tray. I'm gonna go get it back. Like,
I mean,
like,
that's a crazy, crazy motivation to do. But, hey, if you value something for sentimental or other reasons, you want it back, I guess. So,
yeah. Well, I love that
and
the penguin is so tacky to steal it.
sure. Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
He's just grabbing everything that's not nailed down.
Yeah.
Also, actually, my favorite thing about the episode, I wanted to make sure I mentioned, was I love the whole thing of basically his motivation to get into this party was to steal the guest list so he knew who to go rob.
Yeah.
I thought that
really
was
smart.
pretty clever. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. All right. Well, what do you get for a letter grade?
For this one, I don't mean to be insulting for it. I think it was a fine episode. I enjoyed it. I was entertained, but I'm not like over the moon for it. But I think I'm at a B on this one.
All right, I think that's still fair. I think I'm at like an A minus. I really liked it. Again, I feel like whereas with the first episode, there was definitely some adjusting of your expectations just because of how different the Joker was. This felt like it called for less of that, and it just felt like a more classic Batman Penguin story. And I appreciate it for that. It was really easy to watch, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think I talked about this with Brendan though. It is something you have to get used to where like the sky is green and stuff like that, where some of the interesting things they do with the colors in the show just to make it, I think, so colorful. But yeah, I'm like, oh, green sky. Okay.
They make a lot of choices in this series, just in the 2 episodes that I've watched so far. And some of them I like and I find intriguing, and others I'm just like, I might have gone a different direction. And I got to tell you, this whole sound effect they use when they're transitioning scenes is going to wear on me real fast.
I mean, I don't even notice anymore, but
I don't like it at all. But
the screeching bats,
I guess that's what they're going for. But it
like
just irritates me.
Okay. Well, you got a ways to go, so you'll get used to it. You have no choice. I guess. All right. Call of the Cobblepot, a B and an A minus. That was a good solid episode. Next one up is called Traction.
We're getting Bane already, huh?
Yeah. Yes, sir, we are.
Is it really? Well, I was just being a smart ass.
Good guess. Good one. You are right. So yeah, next one up is Traction, and we are going to dig into this series of the Batman. So very cool. That's your homework for next time. But before we say goodbye, we have a couple emails, so let's crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, we only got a couple. It's all good. So the first one here is from Tom Fallows. It says, hey guys, it's been a while since I've written in. I've been loving the podcast, and I hope you're doing well. I was talking to my cousin the other day, and his young lad has been getting into Batman. He likes the Burton movies and the Nolan movies, but he didn't like the most recent Batman movie because it seemed too dark and complicated. Sorry, Jamie, he did opt to watch Batman and Robin instead, and he enjoyed it mainly because he's 5, and it's the demographic. But it got me thinking. I know Batman is meant to be a dark character, but are we making it harder for kids to get into Batman by making the films dark and complicated? I mean, Batman was made for kids, and there was an element of fun and adventure behind all the darkness. Are we marginalizing kids by making Batman too grown up? I don't want to make kids sound stupid or sound like the adults after Batman Returns, but it did get me thinking. Thanks for the great podcast, Tom Fallows. Thanks, Tom. Jamie, I mean, we've talked about this in the past. So what is your take about Batman maybe becoming too, as Tom says, dark and complicated? And are we making it harder for kids to get into him?
I think from time to time, I think we lean too far in one direction or another, and there has to be an adjustment and a balance made for it. I mean, Batman and Robin, I mean, I ain't mad at a 5-year-old for liking that movie. I'm not mad at anybody that likes that movie. I just don't care for it myself. But let's face it, that was made for more of that audience than what, say, Batman Returns was. There's nothing wrong with that. There's something for everybody. Batman is such a vast empire of, what are we on, 83 years of the character now? There's plenty to be had for anybody. We need to make sure that we maintain the balance. There's room for the dark and complicated, gritty, mature Batman, and there's room for stuff like Bat Wheels, for an example, or League of Super Pets, or any of these things. You just need to have balance where you can make this character appeal to everybody and maintain relevance with all the age brackets. So, do I think that it's leaned too far with the movies? Maybe so. Maybe we need to recenter some of these theatrical big movies now. But let's face it. I mean, you're going to get more out of the PG-13 audience than you are probably the G to PG audience as far as dollars business wise. So,
yeah,
balance is the key for me.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we've talked about it before, and I think we're very much on the same page here. There's room for all, and we love Batman because he can be a character that can be super dark and adult, and he can also be very fun and colorful, and then everything in between. And we love that for him. We love that for us as fans. And honestly, as Batman fans have their preferences. Like, some prefer it to be much more adult. Some prefer it to be more real world. Some prefer it to be more fantasy. And nobody's wrong. It's just what you prefer. So I do think there's room for all of it. But to your point, do I think that we've leaned too far in one direction where it is harder for kids to have an entry point? Yeah, I do. Right now, I do think that is harder. I think when we talked about Bat Wheels, that was one of the things we liked about it. Is we're like, it's just kind of refreshing to see Batman content that is aimed at kids, because unfortunately, that's rare these days. And do I think we've gone too far in the movies? Absolutely. I really do, because I can't imagine bringing kids to see the Batman. And it's not just the Batman. I felt the same way about BVS. I like that movie, but I'm like, you wouldn't bring a kid to see this movie. It's not accessible to them, I don't believe, and I think that there could be a little more balance especially in the big theatrical movies, because that's where the most money is made and that's where the most eyeballs are going to be on it. So that is something that you want to connect with a larger audience. And I do feel like maybe we take Batman a little too seriously on the big screen. And I think a little injection of fun would not be a bad thing. And I feel like it's been a while since we've had that. So for the fans who prefer that for Batman, of like, no, real world, complicated, detective, that's what I want. That's fine. That's great. But as far as like a young audience, yeah, I mean, I don't think that the more adult movies are going to capture the imaginations of kids. And so then you've got to look to things like the animated series and stuff to do that for you. All right. Well, okay.
I'm just sitting over here nodding my head in agreement. I mean, you and I very much see this the same way, I think. So
yeah. Anyway, next message is from Mark Jurasevic. It says, "Hey, Batcasters, I hope all's well. It's interesting to see that anti-heroes from both studios are featuring prominently in recent and upcoming movies, like Birds of Prey, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and now Thunderbolts. However, I'm especially excited about Black Adam and Namor, the Submariner, appearing in Wakanda Forever. Powers notwithstanding, I've always looked at these two characters in a very similar vein, and I enjoyed their stories in comics. Both are proud, charismatic leaders, monarchs, if you will, often ruthless, who would do anything for their people, even if it means coming into conflict with the traditional superheroes. They tread the line of villainy and sometimes cross it. What are your thoughts on this, and which of the two movies are you looking forward to most? Regards, Mark. P.S. I hope that The Rock isn't playing with us with his continual teases about Superman appearing in Black Adam. Anyway, if he does, then it will rock my world. Andy, as you said, let's enjoy Black Adam on its own merits, and if we get a Superman cameo, let's consider it an unexpected icing on the cake." All right, thanks, Mark. So, thoughts on Black Adam and Namor, and how, because they are not afraid to cross the line and do some bad things for the sake of themselves and their people. How do you feel about it, Jamie?
How do I say this diplomatically? I have never read a single panel of Namor where he wasn't an insufferable that I couldn't stand. I hate that character.
Not where I thought you were going, but okay.
So much.
Okay.
I hate that character. I just, like, if I could eliminate 5 characters, like the Mount Rushmore of characters I would eliminate from existence, he's on the list, pal. I cannot stand that guy. But I'll see the movie eventually. I'll make my judgments about the film. Maybe something will shift in that movie that'll change my mind. And I know Black Adam and Namor are similar in concept and from time to time execution, but I've read some Black Adam stuff that I liked, and I'm not going to say I'm like a Black Adam super fan or anything, but I like Black Adam. Namor just, I don't like it.
I mean, I wasn't going to quite say it that way, but I feel like Namor is always an a-hole, right? Like, I feel like he is.
I've never seen him not be.
Yeah.
Never.
Like that's kind of his thing. I mean, I never would have compared him to Black Adam, but it's an interesting comparison because, again, and I've said this in the past, especially leading up to the film, is in my history, Black Adam has always just been a villain. Like, I have never read anti-hero Black Adam. I think that is it more of a recent thing, maybe, that I just missed.
I feel like
I've never thought of, like, Namor. I have always thought of as kind of an anti-hero because he can do heroic things. He can help out the Fantastic Four, but then at the same time, he'll just be an a-hole while he's doing it. Like, I don't know, almost like a Lobo in a way, you know, like where like, yeah, he comes and he helps, but like he's just a dick to everyone while he does it. But I've never known Black Adam to be helpful. But again, I think that's more of a more recent thing where they made him more of an anti-hero, and I just never picked up those books.
So the 52 series, I feel like, and I don't know this for sure, somebody more versed in Black Adam lore will have to step in if I'm wrong. I feel like that's kind of where his anti-hero thing kicked into gear.
Okay.
And in fact, I've read that series, and there was stuff in that series I really liked, most notably the introduction of Batwoman to the DC universe. But right behind that, I really like the Black Adam stuff a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then to answer your question, what are you looking forward to most? Black Adam, because DC. Like, yeah, because DC. I mean,
I love the first Black Panther. I love it. It's my second favorite Marvel movie to this very date. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to do things. I've watched the first trailer for it, and it was pretty vague. I don't even remember any dialogue in it. I think it was just music and clips.
Oh, it was Angela Bassett. Remember Angela Bassett saying, "My family is gone." Like she's a badass in that trailer. But you're right. Most of it's just music, but she gets a little dialogue.
Okay, so I really don't know what I'm dealing with as far as the basis of the film. I have not watched the full trailer, and I kind of don't want to, just because I don't want to. I don't know. I want to see how they do things after the tragedy of what happened with Chadwick Boseman, because I thought he was great, and I've been curious right along how they were going to handle it. So I'm certainly curious about what's going to happen, but I also am very. God, I don't want to get into this conversation. I'm very apprehensive about Marvel stuff. I get excited about a Marvel project and I go see it and I don't like it, or am really disappointed with choices that were made. So I have a hard time going into a Marvel thing with my fist in the air going, hell yeah, I can't wait anymore. Instead, I just kind of wait till Disney Plus and going, well, I hope this one doesn't screw the pooch. So I'm different with Marvel than most people are. I'm just wired differently about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously I'm looking forward to Black Adam more, but I am looking forward to Wakanda Forever. And it was that trailer that really sold me. I like the first Black Panther, but the trailer was just so emotional, and it did it for me, where I was like, wow, this really feels like something very unique, very special. And to your point, I want to see how they handle things. And it's funny, we watched it, last night. They played it before Halloween ends, and I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, man, like if they'd have recast, I wouldn't have blamed them. But going this route of not recasting, I also don't blame them for that. I feel like there was an argument to be made either way, but to do it this way, man, it gives them so much to work with just from a dramatic sense in the sequel. And so I'm looking forward to it. And the fact that it also is going to be Wakanda versus Atlantis has me intrigued as well. Like that I think is, I mean, I guess we knew that, but to really see it in the trailer has me excited as well. So I'm looking forward to both, but yeah, I mean, I'm always going to prefer DC anyway. It's just that's my team. But I think Wakanda Forever looks really good, and I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to do Namor.
And I'll backtrack to what I said clear back when the discussions first started happening. I did not envy Feige or whoever had to make that decision on what to do in recasting or moving on without, because there's going to be fans that are going to be mad or delighted either way.
Yeah, exactly. It is a tough call.
For me, that movie was so special and obviously so well received. Clearly, you can see that this character is going to be very impactful for a lot of people. So, in my personal opinion, and I love Chadwick Boseman, don't get me wrong, I mean no disrespect by saying this, but this character might just be bigger than the actor playing him, and recasting could have been the right way to go. And I'm not going to say that they made the wrong choice if they're not recasting, but again, to me, it was not an enviable position being how you had to deal with that. And I kind of said the same thing with Carrie Fisher after she passed with the Star Wars movie. I wouldn't want to be the person that had to make that choice, because no matter what you do, you're going to piss off some of the fan base.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. One last email here is from James Mullins. So on the last episode, we got an email asking about how do we fold Batman and DC into our spooky season doings? And I talked a little bit about content, and Brendan talked a little bit about content, but James is chiming in. He says, I rarely hear it talked about, and it's technically not Halloween, but the Red Rain, Bloodstorm, and Crimson Mist Batman trilogy would be good to review. Cheers, James Mullins. Do you know what I like about James? Brevity.
Yes, he's short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah, boom. There. That's all you need to know. I think that's a great note. I need to go to DC Universe Infinite and get my money's worth and read all three of these things. But that's a great note as well. So because you weren't
there, you're reading the Elvira comics that are on there too.
Oh, excellent. Because you weren't here though, Jamie, I'll pose that question to you: is how do you fold Batman and DC into your spooky season?
I have the Batman versus Dracula on my watch list, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And I have a lot of bats hanging all over my house and in my trees out front.
Good. That's a start.
I honestly don't have, like, as far as like decor or, non-viewing things, I really don't have any DC stuff incorporated into my Halloween routine.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, they make it harder for us. I don't know if you listened to the last episode, but I'll say it again: the Teen Titans Go Halloween episodes.
Yeah,
very easy to watch, and they're very Halloweeny. And then Brendan reminded me of something. I already posted it to the Twitter and to the Instagram. Is that as we're decorating for Halloween, we are doing just as many jack-o'-lanterns as humanly possible. It's an ongoing thing. And right now we have 31 jack-o'-lanterns.
My man.
Yeah. So as Catherine carved them all, because as she was carving them, she's like, I need more faces to put on the jack-o'-lanterns. And so I sent her the long Halloween face where the mouth is really the bat symbol. And she did one. And so, so we do have a long Halloween pumpkin out in the yard as part of our jack-o'-lantern display. You have to find it amongst all 31 jack-o'-lanterns, but it's there.
Your wife is a very talented lady.
She is. She is more artsy than me. I'm more hand wavy of like, here's what I want, and then hopefully I get it. She's like, oh, I'll just do it. That's the difference.
In that respect, you and I are kind of in the same relationship, I believe. So,
So
Kimbra really got into the hardcore pumpkin decorating, like versus the whole cutting out the holes and digging out the inside. She's like shaving things off of the front of the pumpkin kind of stuff. And like she got so deep into it that we were at the Indiana State Fair a few years back, and her favorite guy from this pumpkin carving show that she watches was there and made me take her picture with him. And like, she was like way deep into that stuff.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Yeah. She is definitely the artsier of the two of us, but you know, we make a good team. And so as she was like, oh, I need more faces for the pumpkin. So I had her do one from the opening credits of John Carpenter's Halloween. Nice. Of course. I had her do the long Halloween. I had her do one that's the face of Boo Berry.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have all kinds of fun pumpkins out there right now. So anyway, that was just another way to fold Batman into Halloween, is do a Batman jack-o'-lantern. I want to say it was Eric Carter. It might've been Joe. I can't remember. One of those guys from the Fire Rises, they bought the like thing they sell at Target where it's essentially Batman's head and arms and legs that you stick into a pumpkin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've not done that. Like for me, it's like, it's a jack-o'-lantern. I don't need to stick a head and legs into it. But for people who do like who like to go a little off the beaten path and they want a Batman pumpkin, you can buy that at Target. They also had at Target Batman and Catwoman Funko Pop masks.
Interesting.
So it's like this huge mask that looks like a Funko Pop, and it was Batman and it was Batman and Catwoman that I saw for sure. And I was very tempted because I was like, wow, that's really cool. But I'm like, I would never wear it as a mask. It just would look cool on the wall.
Now, are these like movie ones or classic comic ones? What are we talking about here?
They feel more classic comic.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did not buy them because we have no wall space anyway. But I was just like, oh, those are really fun. Again, I would never wear it as a mask for Halloween, but it's still just a cool item that you could make wall decor easily. So, as I said in the last episode, I am just over here waiting, like I have been for over 30 years, for someone to truly make a Batman Halloween movie. There have been ones that have flirted with it. The Batman flirted with it. Batman Forever flirted with it. The Batman versus Dracula flirts with it, but no one has committed. And I need someone to commit and give me a true Batman Halloween movie.
Yeah, it feels like Halloween is like a cameo or a backdrop to something versus being any kind of focal point or any of that.
Yeah. So we appreciate the additional recommendations, James, of the Red Rain trilogy. I never read it. I'm familiar with the iconography. Like I know how he looks, that vampire Batman, but I've never actually read them. So I should.
That's the one Kelly Jones drew, right?
If you say so. I don't know.
I've read at least the first part, maybe the first two parts of that, but I've never read the third.
Okay.
And I remember liking it well enough, but yeah, it's probably about due for a revisit, I suppose.
Yeah.
If only there was some way that I could access it instantly without digging through a box.
I was going to say, if only there was some way to add more hours to the day.
That too.
We were talking about it, and like, oh my God, trying to schedule anything in October is just a nightmare.
Oh, it's 3 kids' birthdays plus Scarathon. I'm pretty much booked in October.
Yep. All right. Well, we're closing the Wayne Manor mailbox. If you've got something to send, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. But that's it. So we're going to wrap up this little catch-up episode of Holy BatCast, Jamie. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for pivoting at the last minute. This was originally going to be something that required more homework, but speaking to what we were just saying, I ran out of time this week and I didn't get to do my homework.
And fun fact, I actually did the homework for that other planned episode, and you did not. So,
well,
you know what?
That just means you're caught up with me because I did the homework months ago when it was initially available, but I would have to revisit it before we podcast about it.
True, and you know what? Because I imagine it's going to get pushed off more than a week at this point, I'll probably have to revisit it too before we get back.
See, it was all my evil plan just to get you to watch it more than once.
But hey, semi-spoilers. I won't mind revisiting it.
Okay, all right, that's good. That's good. Because next week is Black Adam. Now, whether I can get any of your time to talk about Black Adam is questionable, but we'll see.
Well, I'm going to be. Well, I already told you my schedule for next week, so
Yeah,
we'll see what
your
happens.
schedule is it gave me a headache.
Yeah.
So good luck with that.
But hey, I survived a house full of teenage girls for my twins' birthday party last night. So
You know what? Take the win. That's great.
taking it.
And happy birthday to the twins.
It's getting close. It's actually Halloween day, but
Hmm.
we're getting 17 years old, dude.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
I
crazy.
agree.
All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up again. Wayne Manor mailbox, send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. And that will do it for this show. Jamie, always a pleasure. Thanks for making the time on this Sunday morning where we can have coffee together and talk about DC.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Indeed. Tell our friends where they can find you, or maybe they can't. Maybe you're out there hiding amongst the bushes.
Once in a while, you can find me on Twitter at BatRaider3960. Full participation going on Scarathon and the RF4RM group in Facebook and podcasts. I mean, we did a Real Fans episode on the Halloween series, which was a good time. Love that. Shout out to Hunter and Preston.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we get more content done, but it's going to be a real squeeze to make that happen. But damn it, man, we always talk about getting that RF4RM feed more consistent. We never do.
No, but here we are. Like, it's not what it once was, but this made me very happy as we have had at least one episode a month since July.
Have we really?
No, since May. Like May, June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, 6 months where we've had at least one episode per month. And you know what? That is progress.
That's not nothing.
Yeah.
That's not nothing. Let's see if we can keep that streak alive.
I mean, we still have a couple of episodes. I have the Halloween special ready to go for this week.
Excellent.
So
some
that'll be
driving listening
3
next week.
October episodes in the Real Fans feed.
And we're shooting for a 4th, but man, I don't know if it's going to work out.
I don't know if we can get the planets to align.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Letterboxd. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova, ANDYDIGENOVA. But thanks for joining us, and thanks for streaming or downloading the show. Please do subscribe or follow the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you love the show and you want to help support us, something else that you can do that doesn't cost you a penny, all it costs is about a minute of your day, is to go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We would appreciate that. It's a simple thing you can do, but it helps get the word out, and that would be great. You can go to holybatcast.com or find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, that email address again is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. A big thank you, as always, to Gaurav Venkateswar. He created our theme music, and his work can be found at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to check out our sponsors. You can go to manscaped.com, do some shopping, and get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BATSCAPED. Or go to trueclassic.com and get 25% off with the promo code BATCAST. So that'll do it. On behalf of Jamie, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. You know, you mentioned that bird constantly running into the window. I wonder if the penguin is trying to steal your treasures.
I mean, I do have a bunch of comic books sitting on the table in front of me, so maybe you're onto something there.
Yeah, I think that's what he's up to. So beware. Beware the penguin. Not beware the Batman. Beware the penguin. It's the sequel series.
Friggin' Cobblepot. Always trying to mess with my shit.
I know. What a mess.